The great philosopher Marcus Aurelius found the time while in power to write the Meditations, a collection of autobiographical essays that has grown to be one of the key works of Stoic philosophy. In the Meditations, Aurelius recounts how to-do lists and self-improvement manuals. These were mostly concerned with adopting a cosmic viewpoint and critically evaluating the effects of the world's changes. Aurelius used his own Stoic philosophy as the ruler of a strong empire that endured numerous battles to let go of tension and worry and to be the most capable and dependable leader he could be. In addition to being a theory, the highly well-known and age-old philosophy of Stoicism is also a really motivating way of thinking and acting. The Stoics had a strong belief that the Stoics were the ones who would be the most capable and dependable leader. The Stoics believed that acting morally was the secret to personal satisfaction, and that acting morally required good judgment and rational thought. In light of this, in this video, we will discuss how you can cultivate a logical mind by learning 5 key concepts from Marcus Aurelius's teachings that will enable you to think more clearly. If you find value in this content, make a like and support to spread the Stoic philosophy. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing subscribe and ring the bell to stay tuned for more. Lesson 1. Sharpen your perception. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed, advises Marcus Aurelius. One of the most important lessons of Stoicism is to take control of your view. Don't feel wounded, and you haven't been. We are accustomed to passing judgment on everything we encounter, including people, events, and essays. Each one receives a value assessment. Something was either good, bad, interesting, boring, beautiful, or ugly, for example. Unbeknownst to us, this is an extremely draining activity that could negatively impact our life. For instance, viewing every interaction you have on a particularly difficult day as terrible makes the day in general seem much worse. It will only be that one boring event in your week if you describe a party you attended as boring. We frequently allow our emotions to color our early assessments of things, which implies that they are probably not totally unbiased. Additionally, we have a propensity to speak in metaphors and exaggerations that make situations appear worse, which goes hand in hand with our predisposition to judge every minute of our life. This is the most important lesson we have learned so far. If your lover dumps you, you may instead refer to how they fundamentally no longer feel the same way about you as they once did, by saying that they broke your heart. Your feelings are influenced by the way you think and speak. The way you unknowingly choose to think about the incident, rather than the event itself, is what gives you negative feelings. In contrast, the Stoics advise people to use caution while making decisions, and to carefully consider all they encounter. Undoing your judgments, which simply means looking past them in order to view something through a more positive and reasonable lens, is one of the methods to be cautious. You might try to think of that dull party as an opportunity to see a different location and meet some new people. Make an effort not to judge others. Okay, so you might realize later that you didn't really connect with anyone, but you weren't expecting anything bad. The greatest approach to begin retraining your perspective on life is to practice not judging everything based on your first impulse and feeling. Whenever you have an opinion on something, try to stop and ask yourself, is this rational? What is the foundation for my opinion? Is there a more accurate or uplifting conclusion? Is there a more accurate or uplifting interpretation of this? Marcus Aurelius emphasized that harms can only exist if they are thought of as such. This implies that any difficult event you've had seems more difficult the more difficult you think it is. As a result, you are in complete control of the degree to which certain circumstances affect you. The Stoics also exhort you to look for the opportunity or source of good in any negative event, turning the hurdle upside down. This is a challenge for developing a Stoic perspective. You could feel frustrated when a new coworker is a slow learner, and their errors hurt the business's bottom line. This employee gets in the way of your efforts to be successful, efficient, and profitable. But this circumstance can also present a chance for good. You will get the chance to develop your patience, become a better instructor, Learn how to integrate new employees into the team and practice handling stuff. You will also be able to learn how to keep up with your employees in a difficult and stressful situation. Your skills and abilities will help you develop your ability to become a better instructor in the long run, and you will be able to be valuable in the future. Marcus Aurelius is credited with saying, "The impediment to action advances action," in reference to this topic. What gets in the way eventually becomes the way. In conclusion, take the time to look at things objectively, rather than evaluating everything you encounter harshly. You may discover that life to push yourself and develop personally, to show yourself that you can do it, and to take the step not in spite of your fear, but in part because of it. And in that case, you can be conscious of your anxiety the entire time and think, how awesome that I'm trying this anyway. When you can even imagine how much you can do it, you can easily redirect strong emotions. You will remain composed no matter what. And your emotions won't ever impair your capacity for logical thought and wise decision-making. The secret to a more tranquil life is emotional self-control. Lesson 3, Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have control over your thinking, not external events." The dichotomy of control is the division between what we can control and what we cannot. If you realize this, you will find strength. For instance, you have no influence over the climate, the flow of traffic, or the opinions of others. However, you have some influence over your appearance, departure time, and the company you keep. Therefore, anytime a circumstance arises that causes you to feel a certain way, ask yourself, what am I in control of? You should take action for anything you can influence. Learn to accept and love everything you are powerless to change without letting it influence you. You can instantly cleanse your thoughts if you can learn to discriminate between these two things and respond accordingly. Love for fate, or amor fati, is a crucial component of the duality of control. You will always love life if you accept all of the circumstances it delivers you. You cannot change your circumstances or avoid fate, but you can decide to love your life no matter what. You could believe there is no way out of a scenario where you are denied for a job you have been applying for years. You attempted to get the job and failed. In this situation, pretending to love fate is impossible. This is a misunderstanding, though. Investigate what caused the adverse outcome and use it to inform a positive course of action, rather than seeing the fact that you weren't able to achieve your goal solely as a negative. Either you failed, and that's why you didn't get the job, in which case you have control over this. When a comparable opportunity presents itself in the future, you can improve upon those shortcomings and give it another shot. Other possibilities include nepotism or a personality conflict with a member of the hiring staff as the cause. There's no sense getting outraged over something that has never existed, because you never had control over it, which means the chance was never really there. Distancing yourself from a predetermined conclusion and from outward success indicators is one aspect of embracing fate. You will allow the arbitrary book market of the time to determine your success if, for example, you wish to be a writer and gauge your success by the number of book sales. However, you are in charge of your success if you decide to gauge it based on your level of satisfaction with the final result or the amount of effort you put into it. So by all means, make sure to do your hardest to reach your goals, but never lose sight of the chance that you may not succeed in doing so, and embrace this possibility in advance. One will find themselves remaining calm no matter what occurs if they focus exclusively on the things they can control and make a commitment to accept everything else as it is. Lesson 4. Embrace the virtues. A virtue can be thought of as a perfection of character, or more simply, expressed morally upright behavior. Marcus Aurelius said, "Delve deep within yourself, for a wellspring of goodness is ready to gush forth if you persist in your quest." Such actions are advantageous to you, the people around you, and the greater good. Stoicism embraces the notion of a connected universe in which everyone and everything has a connection. As a result, doing what is for the greater good ultimately benefits you. As a result, the Stoics were adamant that individuals who committed themselves to society's welfare were those who were most in tune with reason. In other words, they lived by their morals. The Stoics, on the other hand, believed that ignorance was to blame for the lack of virtue. Virtues can be your guiding stars, keeping you on the right path and grounded when life throws you into unexpected situations. Because of this, those who are most endowed with the virtue frequently exude calm and calmness. One must absorb the 4 Stoic cardinal virtues of wisdom, justice, temperance, and courage in order to embody virtue. The ability to discriminate between good, bad, neutral, and everything in between is what is meant by wisdom according to the Stoics. It requires overcoming the influence of feelings and letting reason decide what is morally right. When faced with a choice, intelligence enables you to weigh both possibilities objectively. Justice comes next. Justice is built on wisdom. Wisdom is a dedication to what is fair and appropriate for both oneself and other people. The Stoics saw it as a responsibility to oneself, one's fellow people, and society at large. The third virtue, courage, enables action even in the presence of one's own dread. It encourages you to embark on things despite not knowing how they will turn out, or to act for the greater good. Courage is the deliberate choice to move forward despite emotional obstacles, rather than the elimination of fear, desire, or anxiety. Last but not least, temperance, usually referred to as moderation, denotes maintaining a middle ground between extremists. It involves using discipline, restraint, and self-control. Marcus Aurelius emphasized how our ability to self-regulate sets us apart from other animals. Temperance puts long-term well-being ahead of momentary pleasure. Take something commonplace like a bag of chips. Consuming the full bag could provide short-term pleasure, but it puts one's health and even mood in danger. In this case, exercising restraint entails stopping after a few bites. The proper amount to consume before stopping is determined by wisdom. Stoicism divides things and acts into three categories: good, bad, and indifferent. According to personal inclination, the guiding principles were to seek good, shun evil, and embrace indifference. Deviating from these rules meant encouraging evil, stealing, showing disrespect, being careless, or refraining from doing good. Indifferent behaviors like going for a leisurely walk accomplished neither. These values promote a calm, collected state, in addition to personal improvement. You can always walk the virtuous path, led by reason, and cultivate a calm mind if your acts are in line with these virtues. Adopt a bigger picture viewpoint. Lesson 5. Adopt a broader viewpoint. Whenever you want to converse about individuals, it's best to take a bird's-eye view and see everything at once, as Marcus Aurelius says in our final quotation from Plato. Adopting a wide-angle vision is a really vital component of developing mental clarity. In the craziness of life, we frequently find ourselves enmeshed in every problem, each problem seeming to carry the weight of the entire globe. Imagine yourself in a small group. You can feel as though the city as a whole is choked with people. However, taking a few steps back and changing your perspective will show you a completely other reality. In essence, we become aware of how insignificant our individual experiences are, and how tiny we are in the great scheme of things when we step back and reflect on the grand tapestry of our universe and existence. This perspective change reveals the vast realm outside of our immediate contact, the vast realm within which we are in contact. People frequently fail to recognize that, even within their own lives, their own experiences and perspectives aren't the only ones that need consideration. Consider a person who has had a negative experience with dogs. Unless they consciously accept the possibility of different experiences, they could find it difficult to imagine that dogs could be cherished companions to others. It's important to take a step back occasionally and ask, what am I missing or not understanding? This self-examination technique has many advantages. Think about having to decide whether to accept a newly opened position somewhere or keep your current position. Making such a choice could seem difficult, especially if you're not sure which one would help you achieve your goals. Although you are apprehensive of the added duties that come with a promotion, and your existing position gives security, the allure of a higher pay tempts you. You could feel trapped by this predicament. However, beneath the surface, there are a multitude of unrealized opportunities. Have you considered switching careers entirely or looking into a side business that would be complementary to your current position? Perhaps focusing on a passion will help you divert your attention from less enjoyable duties. It's completely conceivable that you are unaware of a number of uncharted life paths. Making well-informed decisions is greatly aided by adopting a broad perspective rather than focusing only on present issues. Expanding your horizons is beneficial for both setting priorities and forming opinions. It's critical to take into account all angles and options in a situation in order to reach a thorough conclusion. Additionally, taking a step back means removing yourself from personal prejudices and opinions. Temporarily, putting aside your desires might give you a new perspective and inspire you to think about the people in your life and your obligations to them. You might view an activity like littering as insignificant in the heat of the moment. The significance of your propensity to litter, in contrast to the sustainability of your life, becomes vividly obvious when you pause and broaden your viewpoint to consider the totality of the world and the potential implications if everyone followed suit. As was already established, the Stoics believed that everything in the universe is interconnected and that your own well-being is enhanced by the well-being of the entire world. When faced with a decision, challenge, difficulty, or change in your life, it is crucial to step back and consider the world as a whole rather than simply your own life. You can ponder some issues internally. This can happen right away or later, perhaps while you reflect on your day while taking a stroll or journaling about it, a practice that Aurelius particularly favored. The most frequently asked questions are, what potential long-term implications might my choice or action have? How could another person's viewpoint on this be different from mine? Do I know somebody who could help, who is in a comparable situation or has goals that are similar to mine? Does my decision or action have an impact on how I feel? Does it have an impact on those who are close to me? Are there any options that I have not yet thought of? It benefits you personally to take the time to think about all facets of the universe, since it makes it easier for you to comprehend your decisions, behaviors, and thoughts. Additionally, it allows you to aid the rest of the world, which benefits both of you. When you take the whole picture into account, you'll always have an overarching perspective that frees you from unwarranted bias, skepticism, or restraint. Join our Stoic Wisdom community. Subscribe today to receive regular insights, practical tips, and timeless wisdom from Marcus Aurelius and other great philosophers.